My Beef, Military, Get a Clue, 30 November 2019 by Anna von Reitz. Some persons have attempted to paint me with an anti-military brush, and also with an anti-civil service brush, but generally speaking, that is not at all true. I am, in fact, holding the line and fighting the fight for our military and our veterans along with everyone else. My beef is with the Pope, with Her Britannic Majesty, and with scads of high-level politicians and administrative ne'er-do-wells, who have happily enriched themselves in gross breach of trust, and far too often, have enriched themselves via spilling blood. That blood is ours, whatever job description. They have followed up by cheating the actual military out of the services and pensions they have earned at such a cost. And that is what they are intent upon, again, as part of their Grand Slam plan right now: collapse all the pension funds, let the stock market crash, stand back and reap the benefits by being able to buy up companies like GE and 3M and Bayer and Mitsubishi and Sanyo at pennies on the dollar, using our gold and silver to do it. Who cares that the military pensions and services will also be discharged in this hideously unfair and dishonorable manner? I do, so I guess I am not the enemy of the military, am I? I am one of those who wishes to scuttle the rats and force the corporations to pay up, instead of sitting on my thumbs and letting the actual living people suffer. The U.S. Navy is a foreign, for-profit municipal corporation. It is staffed by federal civil service employees working for the Municipal Department of Defense, also known as the DoD. Most of these people are retired United States military personnel, and many of them don't have a clue that they are doing anything wrong. Thanks to all the similar names deceits that go on, some people have mistaken this entity, the U.S. Navy, for the United States Navy, which is another animal entirely. Let's make it clear, the Department of Defense and the U.S. Navy are both corporations. Giant commercial corporations. Both operate under the auspices of the municipal United States government. And both have been known to go completely bonkers and operate as crime syndicates, especially under the influence of quasi-military agencies like the CIA. These are the entities that spend their days cashiering away the American national credit owed to the American states and people, and pretending that we are absent. These are the entities that, for the most part, have established the morally and legally and lawfully repugnant patents and protected those criminal patents in the name of national security. Never mind which national security they may be concerned about, and the fact that all these miscreant patents are null and void for criminality on the face of them. Imagine, self-admitted, blatant, criminal schemes, being protected by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Everything from mind control to geoengineering to systems designed to lodge false claims to own our DNA, to deliberately conceived educational programming designed to undermine our ability to think, to bogus electronic trading systems that bypass the necessity of having any actual interest in physical assets that are supposedly being traded. These are all violations in gross breach of trust being practiced against us and the rest of the living people worldwide, by run-amok incorporated crime syndicates that have been promoted and protected by the Office of the Roman Pontiff, and since 2011, by the Roman Curia, which is continuing to play circle the wagons and hide and seek while they try to protect the Catholic Church on one hand, and move their seat of operations to the United Nations, which they propose to use as a storefront, just as they used the Roman Catholic Church for the same deceptive purposes. Just so we are clear, all the governments represented in the United Nations are private, for-profit corporations in the business of providing government services, not actual national governments at all. Let us further be clear that the majority ownership and administrative control of all those corporations is held by the UN Corporation, a nasty old Vichy French Nazi collaborator formed during the Second World War, 2 years prior to the United Nations organization being chartered, and which functions in the same way as the Municipal Corporation of the District of Columbia once did, as a controller umbrella corporation owning the majority interest in all these individual governmental services corporations. So with the Roman Pontiff, or whatever they are going to call him now, holding the majority interest in these national government corporations, whatever they do is only what the UN Corporation tells them to do, and the UN Corporation does whatever the Roman Curia tells it to do because they hold its charter for the Holy See, and the Roman Curia, in turn, serves whatever name or office for the Prince of Darkness. So once again, no matter how you cut it, all this deceitful, nasty, double-dealing, all these dishonest and immoral corporations and their activities, including the issuance of criminal patents to the U.S. Navy, it all comes back to the Roman Curia and the Roman municipal government and ultimately to the Holy See and the Pope. So don't imagine that I am being mean or critical of midshipmen and boat commanders and captains of vessels. I am not after shavetail lieutenants, bosun's mates, or quartermasters. My quarrel is not with warrant officers, commissary officers, or sergeants, engineers, or anyone else having an honest job and occupation in the armed services at all. My beef begins with corrupt admirals and generals and it climbs the food chain from there. None of this is about honest men and women serving in the United States Navy or any other branch of military service in any rank. It's about rats infesting and manipulating our actual military for no good reason and without any granted authority to do so. This, among other issues, is about preventing the criminals from foisting their debts off onto our actual military personnel and civil servants and preventing these foreign governments from evading the payment of the pensions and services that our military and federal civil service members are owed. This isn't just about American state nationals or American state citizens. It's about what our federal employees are owed, along with all the rest of us, too. But bear in mind, it is the people of this country, that is the American state citizens, who hold the other end of the constitutional agreements, and we, those of us who adopt and hold this political status, are the only ones that can hold the thieves accountable. So instead of telling lies about me and about our state assemblies, and trying to cobble together individual deals to save yourselves at everyone else's expense, or trying to front fake state assemblies composed of U.S. citizens, get a clue. This game of musical chairs has come full circle. The American state nationals and the American state citizens aren't the only ones who got cheated and treated like rubes, and we aren't the only ones that they have attempted to feed carrots for jackasses, either. We just happen to be the only ones who can hold the feet of the Queen and the Pope to the fire, and you happen to be our employees, responsible for assisting. Help support this work by visiting www.annavonreitz.com and look for the donate button. Links to this article and more can be found in the video description box.